So I welcome you on this second day of our exploration of thinking. And in a way, it could be very helpful if you also welcome yourself. That meditation is a welcoming. Well, you're welcome here to yourself. And one of the themes for today is that the mind is not just the mind, the body is not just the body, that these are deeply connected to each other. And one of the analogies the Buddha uses for this connection is that the mind, the thinking mind, is a puppeteer. And it has all these strings in the body and pulling on the muscles, pulling on the limbs. And this is a way of speaking to how the connection between thinking and sensations in the body, tensions in the body, movements in the body, that we can think one kind of thought and it tugs on the belly in a certain kind of way or activates it. If it's fear, maybe there's a hollow kind of tension in the belly. If there is a sense of warmth and love, it might be a suffusing feeling, maybe a feeling of warmth or vibration in the chest. What we think, of course, is very connected to how we feel, what the emotions we feel. But for this day, I'd like to emphasize the physicality, the physical activation, the physical expression, the physical impact that thinking has. And the physical source from which thinking arises. And so sometimes it just feels that thinking is disembodied or pervasive or just coterminous with the universe. But as we settle down in meditation, often we can feel or sense that there's a location for where thinking is occurring. And it might be a different location if we think in words or if we think in images. Where's the projector projecting the images? Where's the voice or the speaker system that's coming up with the words? Some people kind of think more somatically. So there, it's already deeply connected to the body. And so I'll guide you through this little bit, and hopefully you can develop, see and value the deep connection between thinking and the body, and discover that through that connection you can have an influence on the thinking mind by relaxing the body, quieting, gentling the different parts of your body that are activated, settling, holding, and being able to be in relationship to thinking, some aspect of thinking that is not the content of the thoughts, the ideas, the stories, the images, but rather the physicality of that process. So to assume a aligned posture that allows you to be in some way or other, even if lying down, to be a bit alert and create the conditions in the body that you feel and sense your body more fully, more globally, in an aligned way. Gently closing your eyes and taking a few long, slow, deep breaths. Relaxing as you exhale. And then to breathe normally. And continue on the exhale to relax. Maybe relaxing some of the common places, maybe not for you, but generally for people, where the puppeteer creates tension in the body as it thinks. Activation. Maybe around the eyes and the forehead. On the exhale, softening, relaxing there. The jaws. A very common area that thinking influences is the shoulders. If you can feel your shoulders and it's easy enough to relax them, please do. But if you just feel the tension and they don't relax, see if you can soften around the tension. Some thoughts reach down into the chest, the heart area. Maybe a pulling, maybe a contraction, tightening. Relaxing the chest. Sometimes the whole arms are ever so slightly tensing up. Relaxing the arms. And then the belly. And then if it's easy enough, can you find the place in your body that from which thinking occurs? The projector, the speaker. It might be a wide area, but maybe it doesn't include your feet and your fingers. Maybe it's above the waist. Maybe it's generally above the neck. Maybe it's behind your forehead, or wherever the thinking mind, the thinking activity seems to be centered. On the exhale, relax. And then centering yourself on your breathing. Maybe remembering to relax by relaxing with every exhale. Feeling every inhale. And if you find yourself pulled into the world of thinking, so you lose touch with your breathing, or if thinking seems quite strong, even if you're aware of breathing, find where there might be some tension in the body connected to those thoughts, in the thinking mind, elsewhere. In a sense, take the 3-breath journey. With every exhale for 3 breaths, relax that part where the tension is. And then begin again with your breathing. If you find yourself thinking, relax. Relax the whole body. If you find yourself thinking but cannot find some place in the body to relax, see if you can soften or open up beyond the edges of your thoughts. And as we come to the end of this sitting, take 3 breaths with the exhale, relaxing as widely in your body as is easy. Relax, soften. And then take 3 more breaths, relaxing the mind, the thinking mind. And perhaps imagining the thinking mind is spreading out beyond the edges of thought, beyond the edges of your body, a softening and opening, emptying. And then feeling or awakening inside of you, in your mind, your thoughts, your heart, your body, the kind of openness, kind of softness through which kindness travels, goodwill, through which simple care, ordinary care of others, caring about them, caring for them, doing them a simple act of care like putting on a bandage or offering them some tea at a time when they're maybe a bit stressed. And imagining that that form of kindness or care can spread out in all directions, from you to the people close to you, neighbors, people in your communities, out across the lands. And wishing, maybe by repeating my words and relaxing into the meaning of the words, wishing, may all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free. And may each of us, the 400 plus people who are here today, may it be that we use our care, capacity for care and goodwill to care for at least 2 people today in small ways. Tea, bandage, do something. So something doubles here today out of this community, goodness out into the world. Hello and welcome to this second day on instructions of mindfulness of thinking. And one of the invaluable ways of getting a handle on thinking so that it doesn't pull us, we not get swept away in the currents of thought and the river of thoughts, the, the train cars of thoughts. The image that's sometimes given of thinking is that we standing at a train crossing, watching a whole bunch of trains go by, and at some point we find ourselves on the train, and we've been on it for a long time and didn't know it. So these thoughts will come, and the idea is just let them go, let them come and go. Don't get on the train. Don't get involved in the train. And one of the ways that can support this, while still clearly knowing that the trains are coming and going without getting on, is to feel the body, to be well connected to your body. The body's always in the present moment, and the body is itself not exactly a thought. However, the body is influenced by the thoughts that we have. If the thoughts are very mild and soft and wispy, maybe we don't feel any connection to the body too much or at all. But at that point, we don't really need to, because it's easy to let go of the thoughts. It's easy to stay with the breathing as we breathe, stay in the present moment. But if it's hard to stay in the present, if it's hard to stay riding in-breath and out-breath over time because we get swept away in the trains of thought, then we need some help in practice. And one of the principles of mindfulness practice is everything is food for mindfulness. Everything is something that we use, can turn to and be aware of. And so we want to learn how to be mindful of thinking so that we're kind of standing on the ground watching the train go by and clearly know we're in the ground, feel the stability, the strength of that, and just kind of know that's the train. And okay, we don't have to get involved. We can just let it be the train. And one of the ways to be present for thinking is to be aware that thinking is more than just the thoughts we have, the images we have. Those are often what help us what we get entangled with, is to feel the connection the thinking has with the body. And then you're part of the ecology of thoughts. And so some thoughts clearly trigger tension in the body, tightening in the body. And I find it fascinating to sit in meditation quietly and feel some modicum of a relaxed body and present, and then to some kind of really exciting, troubling thought arises in the mind, and immediately the body triggers something in the body. It tightens, the belly tightens, or there's a place that gets all hot, or the activated part of the body moves up into the head. So to start feeling what is activated, whether it's tension, or some people call it energy, some people say it's where the focus of attention really wants to go and be centered. You want to notice what's the physical corollary with breathing, with thinking. And if there's tension that's connected, you could do one of two things. You could relax, just soften if possible. A more kind of developed form of mindfulness is not to relax, but to bring your attention into the place of tension, into the place of activation, and feel your way to what wants to happen there. You can ask the question, what does this tension want? Or if it's like an activated feeling of heat or agitation, what does that want? And you might feel with tension, you say, oh, it wants to relax. Sometimes like an activated place sometimes the feeling can be, oh, it wants space. It wants space to spread out into. And if you feel that physical sensations and what they want, or the direction they're going, or the sense of how if they're left alone and given room, what direction they'd go, give them that room. Relax if they want to relax. Make room for them to relax. If some fear in the heart is more like a vibrating, tingling agitation, and you feel that what it most wants to do, it wants to become spread out. It wants to have room to be agitated. Make room for it. Kind of relax around it. And you might discover that that helps it relax, that helps it dissipate. It's not so concentrated. And eventually it might actually dissipate entirely by just kind of spreading outward. And sort of find the corollary in the body. And occasionally it might feel the whole body's activated. If you like, an interesting way of practicing with this is don't spend a lot of time being mindful of some kind of thinking that's captivated you. Find where there's some tension in your body. Find where the activation in the body is. Relax it or make room for it or just feel it for a while. But do it, experiment with doing it for just 3 breaths, kind of like the 3-breath journey. And you might even, kind of count as you go along. And there's something about the limited span of 3 breaths, knowing that's how long you're going to do it. It's not open-ended. So it's easier for the mind to get focused. This is what I'm doing. If it's open-ended, the mind kind of is not quite committed maybe. And it might be long enough to do 3 breaths, because with the, being mindful of the thinking that way. And it might be long enough because anything more has the danger of actually we're somehow interested, fascinated, somehow engaged, reactive to the thinking. And it's like we're trying to get rid of it. And the odd thing about thoughts is that even being bothered by it, even wanting to get rid of it, is fueling it, gives it more energy. Being bothered by thoughts is the food for more thinking. So just do 3 breaths and then settle yourself back on the breathing again. Like you've done your task to be mindful of thinking, what's going on. And maybe that's enough to acknowledge it with 3 breaths, relaxing for 3 breaths, and then begin again with your breathing. If the same kind of thinking arises again or seems to be predominant again, then do the same process. But maybe don't spend more than 3 breaths with it. If you can really stable mindfulness, then maybe you can just stay with the experience longer. But see if this 3 breaths is long enough to acknowledge it well enough that it takes away some of the fuel for that kind of thinking, some of the fascination with it or interest in it. And part of this physical mindfulness of thinking is to feel the location where thinking is arising. And it might be somewhere behind the eyes or somewhere in the middle of the head. I've had different places at different times, but often it's the upper half of the head for me if I'm caught up in thoughts. And sometimes in the back of the head, sometimes in the middle, sometimes near the front, between the ears someplace. Sometimes it's not exactly so clear exactly where it is, but it's kind of a vague, kind of generalized area someplace in the head. Some people might feel it in their heart, in their chest. Some people might feel it someplace else. If it's images we have, where's the projector? Where's the energy of that's fueling the images appear? And so find the location. And if it's not easy to find that, you don't have to keep trying, but maybe you have to wait to a really, first class, high-powered, anxious thoughts or angry thoughts that you might really feel, oh, that's where the center of gravity is. That's where I'm constricted or tight. And that seems to be projecting the thoughts. And find the location of thinking, and then do the 3-breath relaxation there as well, or 3-breath opening. sometimes just making lots of space for thoughts, room around it makes it kind of dissipate and spread out and go quiet. Sometimes, I'm emphasizing relaxing today, but sometimes relaxing, if we do it with aversion or as an engineering feat, like we have to do it right, there's all kinds of ways in which we actually are feeding the thoughts and giving it more energy. Sometimes just kind of like just making space for the thinking and feel the physicality of the location, and maybe what it feels like it wants to do is just kind of spread and out. And so what happens with thinking, it doesn't disappear, but slowly it dissolves, it softens. And that's and as we settle and get more and more quiet, the thinking becomes more wispy and more softer. And there's a classic teaching that I first heard in Zen, but I think it's often in a lot of places in Buddhism, where they refers to clouds like a cloud in an endless sky, drifting cloud that just there's no more substance than a cloud. It's very light and floating, and then it might be easy just kind of in that softness to softly kind of rest the attention on the breathing and get absorbed in the sensations of breathing. So, so the task for today, if you're interested, is through the day, see how your body is activated by the kind of thinking you have. And there might be, as you go through the day, something occurs that evokes a particular way of thinking. You're driving and someone cuts you off, and now you're activated by that, and you have all these angry thoughts. How could they? I'm now thinking furiously about that, rather than continuing, without paying attention. Notice what's happened to your body with those thoughts. You get an email and there's new thoughts. Notice what's happening to your body with those thinking and where you're tense. Make it a kind of a specialty. What is the connection between thinking and your body? So thank you very much, and I look forward to continuing talking about thinking tomorrow.